Hello everybody. So we're going to do a canning video, but I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm kind of doing it as this is how I can when I'm not filming. I didn't really want to do too much talking in this because number one, it's been months since I've done any canning. And this is new for me. I'm canning using the glass top stove. Now, yes, I'm going to be drinking a tea throughout this. You're going to see that. Now, what I'm canning is some chicken stock. I've cooked it for, I think it was like 24 hours. I put it on the night before, and by this point, it's been at least 24 hours, I do believe. Now, I'm getting myself kind of prepared. I do have my jars washed, and I'm just getting, you can see the kettle's blue. I'm getting the water boiling for the lids. I haven't rinsed the lids off yet. I'm going to be doing that soon. I am getting my pressure canner ready to go. Getting the lid off it, trying to get it maneuvered, making sure I have only one rack in there. And, all that fun stuff that goes along with canning, making sure you have everything ready. Now, at this point, I'm trying to make sure I have the bottom on the actual burner. And then I realized when I made sure I had the actual bottom on the burner, I couldn't get the lid back on the pot, which you're going to see at some point. I can't remember when that is. But here I'm just getting the pot filled up. Now, I was very nervous about doing this. I don't know how the age of the stove, it's not in the greatest of conditions. I was worried I was going to break it, but I didn't. It worked out very well. No issues with it whatsoever. So what I'm doing is I'm filling it to I think it's 2 inches of water a Presto canner needs. There's lines on the side of the canner. At this point, I'm turning it on. If I remember right, I started at about a 6, and then at some point, I can't remember when, I actually do turn it up to 8, which is not maximum, but it's one below maximum. But I just finished filling it up. I'm going to add a splash of vinegar because I have hard water here. And you're also going to notice, yes, my canner is dirty. I have not cleaned my canner. The food isn't touching it. Is it dirty? Yes, but meh. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm getting my box of lids open. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing, oh, wait a minute. I have a box of lids that are open in the cupboard up here. So I pulled those ones out. There's 4 of them there. And for some reason, I was going to open that one. I changed my mind, put those ones up in the cupboard. You know how it goes. Your mind is in 100 places at once. And so I realized, okay, I don't need both boxes. I need that one. Put that one in the recycling. And now what I'm going to do is get my measuring cup. Because you can see I just took them out of the box. What I do is I just rinse them under, like I put them all in the measuring cup and then I rinse them in the measuring cup. I don't wash them with soap and water. I just rinse them off really, really well. And then I pour the boiling water on top of them. Let's be honest, this is real life here. So I'm splitting them all up, making sure they're all in there. And then I'm going to run away for a minute and rinse them off and then drain it off. And then I come back and I think I try and shut the kettle off and I fight with it. Let's just say me and that kettle sometimes, I tell you, we fight. So I'm going to dry my hands off. I'm going to, what am I doing? Figuring out what I'm doing. Okay, I have that ready. I have that ready. Let's get my canning funnel and canning, what is that? Ladle? A canning ladle. We'll get that out. And then I got to remember, where is my jar lifter? It's in this drawer. Sip of tea. It's required. And that is very hot tea, which I enjoyed. Because this morning my tea was cold when I drank it. Now that is hot. You don't see it steaming, but also you don't see too much there because I didn't even realize that the light above my stove makes it harder for you guys to see. At this point, I'm trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. And then, yeah, I go to turn it off, flip it the wrong way. The water was boiling at that point, so I didn't feel like waiting any longer. Get the boiling water in there. Okay, what do I do next? I think I get jars. Okay, yeah, so now I'm filling up the jars at this point. Now my battery on my camera does die at some point throughout this. I don't remember when, but it does die, which is okay because all I'm doing is filling up jars. But you want to fill them, what is it, 1 inch? Yeah, it's 1 inch headspace. And I'm canning them up in 500 jars or pint jars, whatever you call them. I'm just going to dip in hot water, clean my lid, wipe the rims, get the ring. That's not a ring, that's the lid. And then get my rings because I still have them out on the kitchen table. And start spinning them on, and then into the canner it goes. And I just keep repeating this until I have all the jars filled. I ended up with 15 jars, so 15 pints of chicken stock. This isn't even chicken stock, it's really turkey stock because it's turkey carcass that I used. And so yeah, so I got 15 of them, and all of them sealed too, by the way. And you notice how I don't take the canning funnel and just set it down on my mat. No, it goes straight into the following jar that's going to be used, just so in that way it stays clean. Nothing could possibly get on it. And okay, so anyway, so we fill them 1 inch headspace. You want to make sure they are finger tight. You guys might see it and think that I'm not doing it finger tight. My fingers don't work very well for certain things, so I have to, it looks like I'm like wrenching them down, but I'm not. It's just finger tight for me. It's how I have to do it. Okay, so again, we wipe the rim, make sure it's good and clean. And then put the band on, put the lid on, put the band on. Into the canner it goes. Now we just keep repeating this and repeating this and repeating this until you have all your stock gone. Now I think at some point, sorry guys, I'm editing this and doing the voiceover at the same time. It just saves me so much time to do it this way. And honestly, you're getting my raw footage of me speaking on this. Now at some point I do come across a jar that has a nick in the rim. I'm going to talk about that because really what else is there to talk about at this moment? And that's when my camera died, actually, was when I discovered that. Now what I did, now because the nick wasn't on the actual rim where the lid would seal on it, it was on the inside of the jar. I felt, because when I was wiping the rim, I've noticed it felt a little bit weird. And that was when I started examining it, and that was when I discovered it. So what I did was I took a marker and I put a little X on it, so that way I knew which jar it was that had the weird little chip inside of the jar. Yeah, let's see, there we go. That's when I cranked it up to an 8 there. Just so in that way I could keep track of where that jar went, so I knew, but it's sealed, so there was no problem with it. That ring, okay, now you've seen how I did that. That's because that ring wasn't going on it nicely. It was catching on it. So I just, when I notice they're doing that, I throw them away. I get rid of them. Because I always notice when I have rings like that, the jar won't seal properly. So I just get rid of them. Because honestly, I have a whole bunch of them. I don't mind. But anyway, so we're back to talking in the jar. So that's why I did that. I made sure to mark it. Worked out good. So sometimes you just have to work with your judgment as to if you think it will seal or not. I wasn't positive or not, and I figured this is my first canning session in the new house using the new stove, because as most of you know, I am used to canning on a gas stove. And even with a gas stove, I was very careful. I never dragged it around, nothing, because I don't do that. I lift it straight up, straight down. And that's, I still do that with this one because I don't want to ruin it. Oh, see, here we go. This is the jar. I noticed it. It's not on the rim. It's on the inside of it. But I still use it anyway. But this is where my battery dies at some point because I heard it click on me while I was doing stuff. Okay, so people are always asking me, we want to see you put it into the canner. So here we go. Here it is. I got them in. I'm putting the lid on. This is where I realized that with me trying to mess around with it, making sure it fit on the burner properly, I couldn't get the lid on. So you're going to watch me fight with it. Real here, people. Okay, you see here? Lifting straight up. Still wasn't enough. And at this point, this canner is mighty heavy. I thought about asking my husband if he would come and move it for me, but I didn't. I still moved it straight up, straight back down. There was no dragging that baby. Okay, and then I put down, and I think I just leave it. I can't remember. Do I move it again? But nope, I'm like fighting. Where is it? Oh yeah, and I get back down. I'm just making sure that it looks proper. I think at that point I leave it. But yeah, there we go. So now we're going to wait, let it get up to temperature. Now you guys can't see it. You can see how dirty it is. That is dirty. But anyway, I'm trying to get, it is venting. I need it to vent for 10 minutes. I was messing around with my tripod, my camera. Sorry, I really got to stop doing that. But I got to vent. I have a steady stream. It's going to go for 10 minutes. Now I think we're going to come back. Here we go. Okay, so I vented it for 10 minutes. Now I have it where I'm trying to get it up to pressure. Now you can see here, some people would actually start the timing at this point. Do not do that. It doesn't take much longer. I think it takes like a minute if I remember correctly because I left it fully on here. It takes about a minute for it to get to the proper temperature. When you use a dial like this, you want it to get to 11. Because when you're using a regulator like Prestos have, you need it to get to 11 psi. Not 10 pounds because we're not using pounds, we're using psi for this. So see, it's at 10. Not quite. We're not starting the timer yet. You're going to see when I start the timer. And you see how nicely it's going. Now after this point, when I get it going, I show you my timer that I'm getting it going. But anyway, I fiddle with the canner trying to make sure I get it to the right temperature because it's, like I said, it's my first time using the stove and the canner and everything. It took us the entire canning session, but I figured it out. Okay, so we can it for, focus, 20 minutes. Chicken stock. Ba-doom. Now, we'll be back, and you see it's pretty much at 11 pounds when I start it. Okay, so now it's done. I'm cooking dinner. It's 4:33. We can see that. So I take the weight off. It's done, like it's down pressure. Everything's done. So I take the weight off of it. You're going to see back there, the little knob thing is down. There's no pressure on it, nothing. So I take it off and I let that vent for 10 minutes that way. Okay, so now it's been 10 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is turn that. And then I'm going to realize that I can't really do it too well, but I fight with it anyway. And I crack it open and I turn it sideways and I let it sit like that for another 10 minutes. Every time I do this, I never have any issues with my jar sealing. Okay, so now it's been 10 minutes. Normally I would let it sit like this anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour. It just depends. But I was in the kitchen cooking dinner. It'd been 10 minutes. I figured I'll just get it done. So now what I'm doing is I am pulling the jars out. You're going to see I do have to tilt them just a little bit because of the hood range there. But I don't have to tilt them terribly bad. But anyway, as I said, I end up with 15 pints, all 15 of them sealed, including that jar that I wasn't sure about. It's sealed. Now as you see, I'm putting them on a, this is actually, what I have here are canning mats. They're awesome. I found them at Dollarama. I've never seen them since. I think that was just kind of like one of those weird things that they wanted to put out for a little while. I don't know what I'm doing here. What am I doing? What am I looking for? Looking for something. Oh my, this is how I get the next, that ring out. I use a jar opener or a bottle opener, they're called. That thing works great because you can just hook it onto the hole and then pull it out. Don't have to touch it. Nothing. Works great. What do you guys do for that? Me personally, I love that trick. I love it. Okay, so we're going to keep pulling them out. Okay, seriously, guys, like look at the color of this chicken stock. Isn't that amazing? It's beautiful. It's so amber. It's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. so I'm not going to complain. My first canning session, nothing broke, nothing blew up. My stove worked just fine. I had no problems. Everything sealed. It was a perfect first canning session for my new house. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And there will be more canning videos coming out soon enough because I have a laundry list of canning that I need to do. And don't worry, not all of them will be voiceovers like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video.